Hello dears, welcome to Beauty for Heart. I'm Lily, also known as Lulu. Time flies, it's June now, so it's a good time for me to do a 2021 eyeshadow palettes ranking. I bought 12 eyeshadow palettes this year, 3 more are on their way. I must say I'm so happy that I do a great job controlling myself buying eyeshadow palettes. Yay! I'm quite exhausted from buying eyeshadow palettes and want to stay away from them for a while. I've over 400 palettes and they started to turn moldy before I can fully use them. So yes, I think I do a great job so far. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you the rankings and swatches, so hopefully this video can serve as a guideline to you to decide which eyeshadow palettes to look out for. There are tons of palettes out there on the market, so it can be quite confusing for us as a consumer. And yes, if you happen to like this video, please consider to subscribe. And by the end of this video, please share with me in the comment section below what is your most favorite eyeshadow palette you bought this year. The best comment will be featured in my upcoming videos. Thank you so much. And now, let's get started! This ranking is mainly based on my experience of using these palettes and also my current makeup preference. Their formula, color story, pricing, and the frequency of me reaching out for these palettes plays an important role for the rankings. And naturally, I will have a higher expectations with the high-priced eyeshadow palette. However, all the palettes here are of the drugstore pricing. I already did a detailed reviews about most of the palettes and I will not touch so much about their performance over here. But if you dears are interested to know more in details, I will provide my previous videos link on the iCard link somewhere on the screen and also in the description box below. So this video is more of my experience and my preference. So let's start with the last in place. This has to be last in place. Very simple because I just bought it on Thursday. Today is Sunday. I only used it once yesterday when I was shooting the new CATRICE products release video. I still need to play more around with it to be more familiar. I know this is a bit unfair for this palette, but because I'm still not very familiar with you, yeah, so please forgive me. Anyways, I have very good impression with their 2 previous eyeshadow palettes from their Pro Slim series, which this is the Next Gen Nudes and this is the Neo Earth, which is this color story. I rave about them and find that this is one of the best drugstore eyeshadow formula for the cruelty-free brands. And when I was using this Vintage Soul yesterday, I find that the formula is very similar to these 2 previous eyeshadow palettes and I was quite happy with the eye makeup look. This is a cool and neutral color stories. The colors are mainly taupe, grey and neutral. The color of the first half of the palette is similar to the previous 2 palettes. At this point of time, this color story doesn't attract me as much as their previous 2 eyeshadow palettes. I bought this mainly for their review purpose. But yesterday when I was using this, I was quite happy with the end result on the eyes. And if you dears happens to love this color story, you may want to consider this palette. The mattes formula here are silky smooth and the shimmeries are very creamy and buttery. I'm very sure if I have the chance to play with it more, this will definitely rank higher. I rank this so low because I am still not used to the mild pigmentation. I was so used to Japanese makeup since I started exploring makeup. Recent years, I am more used towards the Western brands eyeshadow formula. I was adjusting my expectation when I used this palette as Japanese brands eyeshadow formula has milder pigmentation than the Western brands. Until I rediscovered Kate Tokyo and was reminded by them that the Japanese eyeshadow formula can be intensive and pigmented. I really love this CEZANNE Airy Touch eyeshadow colors. This is a very feminine colors, very soft and feminine. I always like this kind of colors. So when I really wanted to do a very soft look, I will reach out for this. Essence Travel Series eyeshadow palettes doesn't have my favorite formula. Their pigmentation for the Travel Series for both matte and shimmers are not so vibrant as compared to their other eyeshadow palettes, and especially comparing to their single eyeshadow range, this single eyeshadow range is definitely one of my most favorite Essence products. But I can see that this formula and pigmentation will be great for those who just started learning applying eyeshadows, or for those with a more mature eyelid condition. And lastly, for those who prefer a mildly pigmented eyeshadow formula. I bought this palette simply to top up to my free international shipping amount. Yeah, I'm using this palette today on my eyes, and currently ColourPop and I are having cold war. No lah, actually I'm just taking a break from them because I find that I'm exhausted by them. Nothing from them excited me so far, but having said that, I have to slap my mouth again because I just ordered their 2 quads, I think last week or last 2 weeks, so now waiting for them to come. I heard that for these 2 quads, they have a new formula, so that's why I'm very tempted to try them out. This is a 5 pans palette, and out of these 5 colors, 2 of them are not safe for the immediate eye area. But I must say I'm really loving the middle color, which is not safe for the immediate eye area because this is really very shiny. Purple is one of my most favorite eyeshadow color. However, I only used this palette twice so far, including today. Mainly because I'm really exhausted by ColourPop and not too excited in them, as well as this palette. That's why the palette is ranked at the lower end. Seriously speaking, to be fair for this palette, the eyeshadow formula is actually quite good. Their shimmeries are very soft, buttery and pigmented. One of the colors that is not safe for the immediate eye area is a pigment, so that's why it's more intensely pigmented than the other 2 mattes over here. So overall, this is a good palette, but I rank it lower because I'm exhausted by ColourPop. There is another ColourPop palette coming up which is also ranked at the lower end. I bought this palette for review purpose. You guys can find more details review about this over at my previous video, which I will provide the link over here and also in the description box below. Anyways, I find that for this palette, it has a very similar color story comparing to the ColourPop Yes Please palette. And recently, I can't find Yes Please palette over at ColourPop website, so I do not know whether they have discontinued this. But if you happen to really like this ColourPop Yes Please palette color story, you may want to reach out for this daily dose of energy from Essence. I have Yes Please palette for a longer time than this palette, so I'm more used to the Yes Please palette whenever I wanted such a color stories on my eyes. The formula for the Essence Daily Dose of Energy eyeshadow palette is more intense and pigmented than their Essence Konichiwa Tokyo palette, and that's why I rank it higher than the Konichiwa palette. This was released last year, 2020, during the holidays. I simply love the packaging. The pattern is so gorgeous and so intricate. So pretty, isn't it? And this is the color story. This color story is my cup of tea. However, this color story actually reminds me that it's a mix of these 2 other ColourPop palettes, which is this Give It To Me Straight, which is a very romantic palette, and also Flutterby, which is a mauve palette. Actually, I find that it's more similar to the Flutterby palette. So this is a Menage a Moi, and this is the Flutterby. Don't they have very similar color story? And this is the Give It To Me Straight. So that's why when this just launched, I am controlling myself for not getting it, even though this is my kind of color stories that I really love. But because I find that this color story is very similar to these 2, until I needed to top up a palette for my free international shipping amount. I like ColourPop 12 pans eyeshadow format the most. 12 pans is their OGs. There are 3 colors that are not safe for the immediate eye area used. I don't always use pressed glitters, so the 2 glitters are wasted here. I'm a person who prefers shimmery finish than matte. And in this palette, there are only 3 shimmery finish eyeshadow, and I find that it's very limited. And the remaining 6 are matte formula, which I find that this palette is a matte dominated palette. And that's why I find that I can't create much looks with this Unlike their Give It To Me Straight palette and also their Flutterby palette, and 2 shimmery colors out of 3 are light colors, 1 is a darker colors. So I find that this is very limited to create a look, and that's why I can't create much look with this, unlike their Give It To Me Straight, and rank this at a lower end. Getting to the palettes that I'm more excited about using this year, starting off with this Kate Parts Resize eyeshadow. I'm really happy to rediscover Kate Tokyo again. And I just did a video about them, so if you dare like to know more in details, please refer to my previous videos. Kate Tokyo created a sharp eye makeup look for this series, the Parts Resize series, and they are meant to make our eyes look bigger and sharper when we are wearing the surgical mask. Their powders are so silky smooth. It's also very creamy, and these colors are pigmented. The middle pink color has a sheer base, and this makes our eyes look sharper yet soft. This really suits my recent preference. Actually, I can't really decide which comes first. This is a hard one. Again, for these 2 palettes, I already did a dedicated swatch and reviews and with their other new Silky Girl products. So if you just want to know more in details, please refer to the previous videos. I'm really impressed at Silky Girl's great improvement with their eyeshadow formula. And that's the main reason I rank these 2 palettes higher. Their color payoff is great! I feel that for some reason the Donuts palette's color payoff is slightly better than the Red Velvet, and that's why I rank the Donuts palettes higher than the Red Velvet. And if you just haven't tried Silky Girl and want to try them, you can start with either one of these 2 palettes first. Their formula for these 2 duos are the same. The difference lies in the colors. These are duos that consist of 1 light colors and 1 darker colors. These are designed to have a high diamond sparkling effect with a sheer aurora color base. I reach for them more often now, as it only consists of 2 colors. I can save my time and effort thinking of what looks to create. I bought the purple one first. I really like the formula, so I bought the other one, which is the BR2, the brown one. The brown one is great for daily use and it looks very natural on my eyelid. The purple looks more sophisticated and romantic, and that's why I rank the purple higher than the brown. These duos are for dears who love a soft, sparkly, romantic look. This is my most favorite so far. Eska was introduced to me by Nadine, who is a beauty YouTuber from Indonesia, and her channel name is Unpretty Vanity. She's so helpful and detailed. She shared one whole list of Indonesian cruelty-free beauty brands with me, and she highly raved about their palette. When I was browsing their eyeshadow palettes on the website, I thought that their color stories is so Korean. The Korean eyeshadow pigmentations are more to the mild to moderate side. Hence, with this thinking, I was quite surprised at the pigmentation of this Eska Peach Goddess palette. I am very into natural look with sparkle recently, and these palettes helped me to achieve it. When I add the pressed pearl formula, it upgraded my eye makeup look. By the way, you can find Eska at Shopee Singapore. You dears may like to consider to use my Shopee affiliate link when you shop there. I will include my affiliate link in the description box below. I'm really enjoying this palette, love it, and I hope that Eska can come out with more color stories and make it permanent. Anyways, I also did a dedicated reviews about Eska products, so if you just want to know more in details about these eyeshadow palettes, please refer to the previous video. I hope that this video is useful for you dears. And now it's your turn to share with me. What is your most favorite eyeshadow palette you bought this year? Please comment in the comment section below, yeah? Thank you so much. And remember, the best comment will be featured in my upcoming videos. And last but not least, here's an inner beauty tip for us to be more beautiful and more wise. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to like this video, please subscribe and click the bell notification button below for my future videos. I like to do beauty products review, and if this is your cup of tea, please join in my YouTube family. Also, if you like to, please visit me at my Facebook and Instagram platform The address will be somewhere here on the screen. May you dears have a peaceful, blissful, and joyful week ahead. See you next time. Bye! And before you go, please check out these two videos over here. Thank you!